abreast, you got him 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show under the world of outlaws.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and for the new viewers out there, welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network. The existing and the returning viewers, welcome back to the Dre Broadcasting Network as we go back side by side with the Roaring Thunder Racing League. Tonight is the Gateway Indy 156, that's the Gateway Indy 156, round 14 of 16, the Verizon IndyCar Series, here with the Roaring Thunder Racing League tonight. My commentator Sean Zulu, and up in the booth with me as usual is David Everly. How are you doing tonight, Dave?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Sean?
Doing good too, thank you. Well, man, just ready to get this this race going tonight. We have a special treat, Gateway Motorsports Park. It is quite the track, 1.25 miles in length for 125 laps to come. But before we talk about more and get into tonight's race, let's take a recap from last week's race. Last week's race was a Pocono entitled the Pocono Indy 250. That's the Pocono Indy 250. And in that race, we had Robert Barras bring it home for his 11th win of the season. Jeremy Horn came out second, Stephen Leffler third, Jim Whaley Jr. fourth, Joshua Jones fifth, Rolf Just sixth, Sean Butler came out 7th, and that was Sean Butler's first race last week at Pocono. Simon Thorne's 8th, Ronald Vincent 9th, Mark Kochik 10th, Mark McFadden 11th, Poe Cohen 12th, Jeff Dodson 13th, Noah Lewis 14th, and Charles Smith did round up the whole entire field of 15 drivers. And last week there we had 2 drivers, Noah Lewis and Charles Smith, have some bad luck. So tonight they are trying to change that, turn that around for the better. But moving on to our current point standings, we have Robert Barras leading in points. That is Robert Barras leading in points still with 11 wins under his belt. So he has won 11 of 13 races. Charles Smith second in points, Jeremy Horn 3rd, Jim Whaley Jr. 4th, Mark Kochik 5th, Jeff Dodson 6th, Mark McFadden 7th, Ronald Vincent 8th, Stephen Leffler 9th, Keaton Bummersbach 10th, Poe Cohen 11th, Noah Lewis 12th, Simon Thorns 13th, Shane Gross 14th, Art Peck 15th, we have Rolf Just 16th, Corey Silva 17th, Kyle Nadu 18th, John Morgan 19th, Caleb Thompson 20th, Evan Black 21st, Rick Mason 22nd, Seth Schultz 23rd, Justin Anderson 24th, actually Justin Anderson tied with Joshua Jones for 24th, John Estates, Sean Butler, Jason Allison, and Glenn Bowen rounding up the rest of the drivers in the point standings. Well, back to tonight's race here tonight, the Gateway Indy 156, round 14 of 16, the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series. Here tonight, once again, Gateway Motorsports Park, 1.25 miles in length, 75% fuel limit, that is 75%. The track temp is 78 degrees Fahrenheit, the partly cloudy at 78 degrees Fahrenheit air temperature. Night time, so under the lights tonight for 125 laps to come. And with that said, these drivers tonight breaking the lap counter, the lap timer, the land speed records tonight, running all the way from about 25-second lap times to about 26, roughly. So that should give us at least, let's see, we can just say 2 to 3 laps per minute. Well, 2 to 2.5 laps per minute when it really comes down to it. And so far here on the pole is the 75 of Robert Barras, and we are missing a couple of drivers. Looks like here tonight we only have, let's see, 12 drivers starting tonight's race. And for the new viewers out there, or for just any viewers who would like to be a part of the action, anybody who would like to be one of the drivers of the Roaring Thunder Racing League, check out their website, AmericanTrucker8.wixsite.com. That's American Trucker, the number 8.wixsite.com/RTRL to find out everything you need to know about the series. Also check them out on iRacing at Roaring Thunder Racing League under the league's directory. So just search up their name and you will find them. So once again, Roaring Thunder Racing League live on the Dre Broadcasting Network. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get active in the chat. Say something, type it up. I see Christopher Potter. That is Chris Potter in the chat. That is Noah Lewis's crew chief here in the 98. Racing tonight. Also raced last week at Pocono. Had some bad luck there, but he has his head high and his foot down to the floor, trying to get the job done. So Chris Potter, it is great to see you again. Hope you're doing well tonight, man. Hope you're doing well. And our poster here tonight, once again, is Robert Barras. We have Charles Smith 2nd, Noah Lewis starting 3rd, Jeremy Horn 4th, Keaton Bummersbach 5th, Simon Thorns 6th, Rolf Just 7th, Ronald Vincent 8th, Jeff Dodson 9th, Mark Kochik 10th, Jim Whaley Jr. 11th, and Poe Cohen in the 12th place position. And we are now rolling behind the pace car being led by Barras with the help of the 13 of Charles Smith. Well, they are side by side, leader of the bottom lane and the inside lane here, and they are now about to go green here this time around. A lot of speeds about to be broken as we go throughout the whole entire race. Once again, 75% fuel limit, giving us at least 2 to 3 required pit stops in order for them to be able to make it all the way. That pace car dips off. Barras tightening up the whole entire field here as we speak. Waiting for the green flag to fly. They go on the green. The green flag is out, and Barras finds the gas pedal, but Charles Smith sees it coming in time to give him a very good battle, a drag race, entering turn 1. This is lap 1. The gateway in. Oh, contact! Charles Smith involved. Oh no, wrecking already on the exit of 2. Charles Smith is spun out sideways, and the caution is out.
As we take a look at the replay here, as we see Charles Smith on the outside, contact between him and Beers, and it looks like Noah Lewis up into the wall, and unfortunately Charles Smith is going to get the majority of the damage there.
Indeed, man, that's unfortunate for every single driver involved in that. And looking back at it, looks like there was a very, very big checkup. In this case, a big slowdown by the leader up front there, Robert Barras, which caused the chain reaction for the back. Looks like Robert Barras' machine ended up pushing very, very tight. They're entering turn number 1, but not to worry, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody is still in it to win it, because they do have one backup car, one quick fix, one fast repair. So it's not over until it's over. Which also reminds me, we've been missing Keaton Bummer's back for a while, but he is back racing here tonight, currently being shown in the 3rd place spot, behind the 14 of Jeremy Horn, defending champion. And so far, only 2 drivers going down pit road, Mark Kochik and Charles Smith, either to get damage fixed or to use up their backup. I mean, get out those backup cars that they have. And Charles Smith had just rolled off pit road there as we spoke. I'm not sure if he actually uses backup car. Actually, it looks like his machine is very, very clean. Not a single scratch on it. So it looks like I guess he did use his backup car early on. And that's unfortunate for Charles Smith, man. He had a very, very rough race last week at Pocono. Ended his night before the checkered flag, and is trying to have a better race tonight. But hopefully his race picks up, because the race once again is still very young. So far here, only 3 laps in and 122 laps to go. And we are back 1 to green this time around. Robert Barras here still in the race lead. Jeremy Horn 2nd. Keaton Bummers back 3rd. Noah Lewis 4th, and Simon Thorns in the 5th place spot. We are going green single file this time around. Pace car takes the hard left off the racing surface. The drivers always go on green. Never before. The green flag is out and Barras finds the gas pedal immediately. A great restart by him against Jeremy Horn, who is all over his tail here as we speak, getting very close to him as Jeremy Horn tries to make some moves already against Robert Barras, but so far back single file, and the caution flies again on lap 5.
This is going to involve the 3 of Jeff Dodson here as we go back to the Dre Broadcasting replay and take a look here to see what happened to Jeff Dodson. Looks like they were running. He was running the low line. Oh, he may have hit the bump. Yep, he got off the track and got spun around. Fortunately, it looks like Charles Smith might have got involved in that as well.
Oh, indeed, man. That's unfortunate for the drivers involved, man. And yeah, Jeff Dodson, his machine there, a weird reaction between machine versus curb. Just spun him right around. Yeah, and Charles Smith definitely got a piece of the action there, including 51 of Paul Cohen as well. But hopefully, Charles Smith is still gonna stay in it to win it, because scanning his machine, the front wing is bent. And as we speak, he is on taxi road. Actually, he's going down pit road this time around. Actually, he's on pit road already with Mark Kochek right behind. Yep, we're gonna focus on Charles Smith this time around and see what happens. Well, looks like in the beginning, during the first caution, Charles Smith did not use his backup car, his quick fix, his fast repair, but now has decided to use it. So as we speak, he's got a brand new machine and getting a few final touches on it, and actually off pit road he rolls right now. But going back up front, we are still being led by Robert Barras. Keaton Bummers back second, Noah Lewis third, Simon Thorns fourth, and Jeremy Horn in the 5th place spot. Ronald Vincent 6th. We have Rolf Just 7th, Jim Whaley Jr. 8th, Poe Cohen 9th, Charles Smith 10th, Mark Kochek 11th, and Jeff Dodson in the 12th place spot. And tonight we are missing one of our heavy hitters. That's going to be Mark McFadden. We'll look forward to seeing him back again next week at Watkins Glen. Well, we are back 1 to green this time around, and the same lineup here. Barras, Keaton Bummers back, Noah Lewis, Simon Thorns, and Ronald Vincent, 1st through 5th, respectively. Well, the pace car is off. Barras still holding that pace speed 60 mph. Going green this time around. The green flag is out and he does not hesitate. He finds the gas pedal, but behind him, 88 Bummersback goes to the inside, side by side in turn 1. Bummersback falls back in line here and is trying to defend his spot against the 3rd place driver, 98 of Noah Lewis. The track is very, very tight, very, very sharp turns, and these drivers have to be on their toes with every single lap. And Bummersback going back at it for the race lead against Robert Barras, side by side in turn 1. And Barras seems to be doing an amazing job of the exits of these turns on the outside lane. The outside lane advantage. The inside lane Bombers back. He is having big disadvantages because the machine is pushing very tight. And to avoid pushing up into the 75 of Barras, he's just having to left to avoid causing trouble. And now oh man, contact between 98 of Lewis and Bombers back. It pushes Bombers back up the track. And Lewis the inside side by side. And the caution flies on lap 11. Ooh, we had two drivers airborne, Jim Whaley Jr., including Rolf Just.
As we go back to the Dre broadcast and replay, focusing on Ralph Just. Yeah, contact between Jim Whaley and Ralph Just gets both cars airborne. And unfortunately, it's going to be a rough night for those drivers.
Oh, indeed, man, that's a rough start to tonight's race for a lot of drivers. And both Rolf Just and Jim Whaley Jr. Losing their front wings. And also Rolf Just as well. Oh, did he actually tow? No, Rolf Just, as we speak, has actually lost functionality. Or I should say the right front wheel of the machine has lost functionality. And is trying to go down a pit road as we speak. That is very, very unfortunate for Rolf Just, man. A lot of time has been lost. Hopefully he's not going to be going a lap down because this track is very fast. Under green flag conditions, they are running 25-second lap times. So with that said, he might be going a lap down before too long. Already we have some drivers being shown one lap down. Actually, they are, yeah, 5 drivers now one lap down. Jim Whaley Jr. included, Rolf Just, Mark Kochik, Jeff Dotton, and Jeremy Horn. All one lap down. And here on the track, Barras is still in the lead. Keaton Bombers back second. Noah Lewis third. Simon Thorns fourth. And Ronald Vincent in the 5th place position. That's first through 5th right there, respectively. And ladies and gentlemen, wants to come here. This is round 14 of 16. So with that said, after this race, 2 more races left in the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series season. And the next 2 upcoming races next week, we are traveling to Watkins Glen for the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar at the Glen for 30 laps. And then for the final race of the season, the race of the championship of the crown, Roaring Thunder Racing League Indy Sonoma Grand Prix, Sonoma Raceway for 42 laps. So do not miss it. We have two road courses coming up for the 2 final races of the season. And starting here tonight's race, Robert Barras had quite the lead. He has actually had a 278 points lead against a second place driver in points, 13 of Charles Smith. That's going to be very tough to beat. Going one to green this time around. Yes, we are here. Single file restart. Barras, Keaton Bombers back. Noah Lewis, Simon Thorns, Ronald Vincent here. No change. First through 5th still. Going green this time around. We're going to be having a 110 lap shootout coming up. So now we have 5 drivers trying to race hard to get their laps back. Oh, actually, we just lost one of the 5 drivers. Rolf just retiring early for the evening. That's very unfortunate. We look forward to seeing this driver back next week for the Glen round 15 of 16 Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series. So we have Jeremy Horn, Jeff Dodson, Mark Kochik, and Jim Whaley Jr. all racing hard to get their laps back. The green flag is out and Barris finds the gas pedal immediately. And Keaton Bummer's back here, hangs back before turn 1 this time around. As a 98 of Noah Lewis as well is slowly creeping up onto both drivers for second place spot against Keaton Bummer's back. But Barris goes down low to defend his spot against the 88 of Keaton Bummer's back. And Bummer's back is going to stay all the way high, oxygen nice and low, and falls back in line behind Bummer's back. I mean behind Barris, but then goes to the inside now, side by side on the front stretch. Yeah, Bummer's back really wants to take this lead away from Barris, but Barris is not gonna give up that easily. He's gonna make him work for it. And here off turn number 1, he was able, off turn 2, Barris got around Bummer's back and put it back down to single file. But for the back in the pack, some more side by side was going on between the 37 of Ronan Vincent and 13 of Charles Smith. But Charles Smith just went a spot higher, back in the top 5, and bumped Vincent out of the top 5 into 6th. But as usual, Vincent just pretty much taking it easy here. It is early on in the race. He ends up, pushing it hard in the later stages of the race and makes it count at the same time. And here for 4th place, some more side by side. Well, actually, that's going to be the 14 of Jeremy Horn. Jeremy Horn has caught up to the 98 of Lewis. Oh, man, Lewis pushes high. He goes sideways. He's going to wreck. Oh, he spun out sideways. The caution flies. Off turn 2, Noah Lewis. And I do believe that was bad netcode.
Well, as we take a look here, I'm not sure if there was contact between him and Jeremy Horn, but Noah Lewis, he does a good job of keeping it off the wall as he spins out. So that's a good job there by the 98 of Noah Lewis.
Indeed, and the good thing is Lewis, man, he saved it. Was able to keep it out of the grass, out of anything solid, basically, that could damage the machine. So he's gonna stay. He's going to live to fight for some more laps to come. This time or in the upcoming future here. But going back up front, Robert Barris is leading everybody on the taxi road, going down pit road with 20 laps in. We have 3 drivers staying out behind the pace car. And that's going to include, gonna try and get these names, that's going to include Jeremy Horn, Jim Whaley Jr., and Jeff Dodson all staying out. These drivers all having one thing in common, they are all 1 lap down. So trying to get waved around once we get back to 1 to green. And getting some intel from the crew chief of the 98 of Noah Lewis. That's Chris Potter in the chat. He says Noah Lewis just got loose there all of a sudden in between turns number 1 and 2. Yeah, but that was a heck of a save by Lewis, man. And, definitely could have been worse. Simon Thorne 2nd, Barris, Charles Smith 3rd, Vincent 4th, and Paul Cohen in the 5th place spot. And Robert Barris here, as we speak, is behind the 98 of Noah Lewis, and that's going to be in the 6th place spot. Actually scratched up the 7th place spot with Noah Lewis in the 6th place position. But going back up front, we are still 2 to green with 4 drivers all wanting to get their laps back the hard way here. Wants to go back 1 to green once again, namely Jeremy Horn, Jeff Dotson, Mark Kochik, and Jim Whaley Jr. We are 1 to green, being led by Keaton Bummers back, Simon Thorns, Charles Smith, Ronald Vincent, and Poe Cohen. 1st through 5th respectively in the Verizon IndyCar Series by the Roaring Thunder Racing League here tonight. The Gateway Indy 156, round 14 of 16. Oh, and Chris getting interviews, it might be a little bit difficult because the laps are going by pretty quickly. But if we do try to get an interview in, we're going to do it as soon as the caution comes out, if the caution comes out again. But man, yep, absolutely, man, if we can get a chance, we will. The green flag is out and Keaton Bummers back, finding the gas pedal. Simon Thorns 2nd here right behind him. But Simon Thorns having 13 of Charles Smith all over his rear view. He's going to try and hold him off here before too long off turn 2. These very, very tight turns, and Simon Thorns now being under fire from 13 of Charles Smith side by side, entering turn 3. Oh man, these turns are very, very tight. Charles Smith decided to just back it down. He has no more backup cars left. He already used up his backup car, was what I'm trying to say. And Simon Thorns maintains 2nd place spot as Keaton Bummers back is trying to put a distance between him and the rest of the whole entire field as we speak. And scanning this field, Jeremy Horn, Jeff Dotson, Mark Kochik. These 3 drivers were able to get their laps back the hard way. We were on the pace car last caution and are all back on the lead lap. That is amazing to see. And they are now back in it to win it. I'm noticing a lot of drivers having trouble with the rotation of these machines, having trouble rotating or taking the turns at speed. That means the machines are pushing very tight, and we have a battle between Ronald Vincent and Poe Cohen side by side for 6th. Oh, contact! Vincent in the wall! Oh man, he saves it. Oh, that was almost bad. There was contact between Ronald Vincent and Poe Cohen, but we're still green flag racing. And I do believe Ronald Vincent's machine is struggling to turn. Yeah, he's going all the way down low to get away from traffic, and is now way under speed, trying to get the machine back under control. Oh, Oh, we have a driver spinning around. That's going to be Jim Whaley Jr. And the caution flies.
Well, as we pull up the Dre Broadcasting replay, we're going to focus on the 46 of Jim Whaley. As we go back on the Dre Broadcasting replay, as he was battling with the 51 of Paul Cohen. And coming through the turn, it looks like he just got on those rumble strips enough to upset the back end, and around he goes, but he keeps it down off the track, off the wall. Everybody's able to get by him, but that is going to be our 5th caution of the night.
That's unfortunate for every single driver. Well, for Jim Whaley Jr., who got involved in that. Self-spin right there, yeah. So that's the second driver claimed by the curb, the rumble strips. But nice save by Jim Whaley, was able to, keep that machine off the walls. So not a single scratch on it, besides the grass under the machine, but that's not a big deal. But here under caution, we are being led by the 88 of Keaton Bummersback, Simon Thorne second, Robert Barras third, Charles Smith fourth, and Jeremy Horn in the 5th place spot. Well, we actually had a lot of drivers too go down pit road here. Under this caution, we had Robert Barras, Charles Smith, Jeremy Horn, Paul Cohen, Jeff Dotson, Mark Kochik, all go down pit road, including Ronald Vincent. But the drivers up front, the top 2 drivers, Simon Thorns and Keaton Bummersback, decided to stay out, giving them 10 laps more on their tires and tanks this time around as we speak. But that should not affect them whatsoever, because they haven't had those many green flag runs on those tires, so they should still be able to keep up with everybody else. Yeah, looks like Keaton Bummer's back there having some connection problems and trying to go down pit road this time around. As we speak, that's unfortunate, man. He just gave up the race lead. When new viewer in the chat, well, we have John Marine back at it. Welcome back, John Marine. Hope you're doing well tonight, man. Hope you're doing well. I hope your weekend's going well so far. And we are back 1 to green with a new race leader, Simon Thorns. We have Robert Barras second, Charles Smith third, Jeremy Horn fourth, and Paul Cohen in the 5th place spot. Going green this time. Pace car is off. Simon Thorne still controlling the pace. The green flag is out. And Thorne finds the gas pit about 96, 98. Hoffnall is right behind him here. He's all over his tail here as we speak. With also Robert Barras approaching. Entering turn number 1, exiting turn 2. Barras goes to the inside of Lewis and caution flies on lap 32. We had a driver on his roof.
That's going to involve the 3 of Jeff Dodson here, and also Ronald Vincent as we go back to the replay here. There's Jeff Dodson running on the outside. Just gets loose right in front of Vincent. Unfortunately, Vincent nowhere to go as he goes on his roof.
Oh man, yeah, that's unfortunate indeed for both drivers involved. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we're going to take our first commercial break of the evening. We'll be right back, so please stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Gateway Indy 156. That's the Gateway Indy 156, round 14 of 16, Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series here tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you interested in being a part of the action, check out their website, americantrucker8.wixsite.com/RTRL. That's American Trucker, the number 8.wixsite.com/RTRL. You guys can join any of their multiple series, and also check them out on an iRacing under the league's directory or leagues page. Just type in Roaring Thunder Racing League and you will find them. So Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing and American Trucker 8.wixsite.com/RTRL. Well, going back to tonight's race here, still being led by Simon Thorns, Robert Barras second, Jeremy Horn third, Charles Smith fourth, and Mark Kochik in the fifth place spot. That's a good one, John. And we are now back one to green. Still being led by Simon Thorns, and so far here, 38 laps in, we have 7 drivers on the lead lap. And Noah Lewis lost connection to the server and is 2 laps down as a result. And is trying to get those laps back the hard way before the race is over. But, you know, the race is still young. We still have 88 laps left. So yeah, the race is still young with at least 2 to 3, well, at least 2 required pit stops in order for them to be able to make it the rest of the way. That pace car is off the racing surface, and the green flag is out. Simon Thorns finds the gas pedal, but Noah Lewis gets a better restart than he did, and Lewis trying to already get that race lead. Well, Noah Lewis is 2 laps down, but trying to get around the leader. Oh, actually, the free lunch program against Simon Thorns by Barras, Lewis, Charles Smith, and now Keaton Bomber's back included in this mix, and Bomber's back pulling the 41 or the 14 of Jeremy Horn with him. Simon Thorns goes from first place to about 7th place in 1 lap. Well, that's going to be about 6th place. Looks like Simon Thorns just trying to take it easy here. He knows the race is still very, very young. And Barras takes over the race lead against, away from Simon Thorns. And Noah Lewis is well going to be taken by Robert Barras. So that now puts Lewis back to 2 laps down from 1 lap down, because he got his lap back once he got around Simon Thorns, the leader. But now the new leader going around him, so it's back to 2 laps down and trying to get his lap back the hard way. See where his laps back the hard way in this case. Again, Keaton Bowes back 2nd. We have Charles Smith 3rd, but Charles Smith under fire from 14 of Jeremy Horn side by side. Absolutely there, Chris. Yep, 98. Lewis is still in it to win it, man. He never ever gives up, it seems like. That's amazing to see. And here for the 3rd and 4th place spots, Jeremy Horn was able to put on a gap between him and the 13 of Charles Smith. While they also, 57 of Simon Thorns is slowly creeping up to both drivers. So Simon Thorns is not pushing the matter, he's just trying to be able to keep these drivers in sight. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you ride for too long at this track once again, 1.25 miles in length, and the drivers running 25 to 26 second lap times. If you ride for too long, you will go a lap down in no time. And a position change here between Simon Thorns and Charles Smith. Charles Smith bumped down 1 spot to 5th place by Simon Thorns. And the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. here slowly creeping up to the back of 13 of Charles Smith. Oh, Charles, man, these machines are pushing very, very tight. Exiting these turns, specifically turn number 2, the exit of turn 2 has been the one that's claimed the most drivers. With the way the machines have been acting, just spinning out randomly. Looks like so much wheel rotation, and, you know, the drivers hitting the gas is upsetting. Basically, you know, the rear wheels push the front end leftward onto the apron, spinning these machines instantly. So, man, these drivers have to be on their toes with every single lap. They are trying their best and doing amazing this far. Doing amazing. And 33 of Mark Kochik. Mark Kochik being shown about 6 seconds behind the race leader in the 7th place spot, and Kochik being the last driver on the lead lap in 7th place. His next victim about 1.8 seconds ahead of him. That's 51 of Paul Cohen. And the field is starting to get more and more spread out up front. Robert Barras is about 4/10ths of a second ahead of 2nd place driver Keaton Bomber's back. That just went up to 5/10ths of a second. So Robert Barras is slowly increasing his lead with every single lap. And Jeremy Horn, 2 seconds. That's 3rd place driver Jeremy Horn. 2 seconds behind the race leader Barras. At the same time, he's about 1.1 seconds ahead of 4th place driver Simon Thorns. And Jeremy Horn getting around the 98 of Noah Lewis as we speak. But Lewis here is very stubborn, trying to take it back. But on the exit of turn number 2, Lewis ends up falling short because the wall was coming just way too close for comfort. He chose to live to fight another day, another lap, and avoid losing the machine completely. And Jeremy Horn gets around successfully, and now trying his best to catch up to his next victim, the second place driver 88 of Bommersbach. We have Simon Thorns as well in this mix, trying to take. He lost the lead in one lap during the last restart, and ever since has just been keeping not really a low profile, but just pretty much riding at the same time, not trying to ride for too long. He's still trying to keep up. He's still keeping up quite well, and now behind the 98 of Noah Lewis, about 2.8 seconds behind the race leader. Beres up front. Oh man, actually Beres is now pulling away from the rest of the field at a very fast rate. He's now about 1.8 seconds. Whoa, I scratched that. That went up to just 2.1 seconds ahead of second place driver Bommersbach. Jeremy Horn here catching up to Keaton Bommersbach at a very fast rate. They are now about 0.2 of a second apart from each other, and Jeremy Horn not very scared, is making his presence known in the rear view of Bommersbach, and Bommersbach is most definitely feeling the pressure here at the moment as we speak, and it's getting nothing but intense, more intense with every single turn. Oh, Jeremy Horn's side was off turn 2. The caution flies this time around.
As we go back to the direct broadcast and replay, it looks like he just broke loose here, but let's take another look at it here on the replay. Is Jeremy Horn coming into the turn? He gets down low. Oh, he makes touch with the apron a little bit. Coming out of the turn, he loses it down into the grass. A little contact with the wall, but not too much. That is going to be our 7th caution here at Gateway.
Very unfortunate for 14 of Jeremy Horn, but nice save, man. He was able to keep that machine off the walls. Well, just a little bit of a scratch when he bumped the rear of the machine on the wall. He was going about less than 5 miles an hour, so no harm done. He'll still stay in it to win it with no negative consequences. Well, up front here, Beres leading everybody down pit road as we speak. But 2 drivers staying out. We have the 98 of Noah Lewis and the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. behind the pace car. Also have to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, here with the Indy cars, no lucky dog. That's right, no lucky dog. The only way to get your lap back is to either get around the race leaders under green flag conditions to get your lap back the hard way, or stay out under caution. If the leaders pit in, you stay behind the pace car, you get waved around once you go onto green. And the race off pit road was won by the 88 of Keaton Bommersbach. Coming up behind him, is Robert Beres. We have Simon Thorns. Actually, Simon Thorns seems to be getting sent to the back of the pack. He might have got caught speeding on pit road and received an end of the line penalty. So we have Keaton Bommersbach in the lead, Beres second, Charles Smith third. Actually, Simon Thorns here has now stabilized in that 4th place spot. Yeah, man. Turn 2 has claimed a lot of drivers here this far, and most likely still a few more drivers gonna be get claimed by it, because the race is still quite young. Turn 2 exit is just way too sharp, and these drivers' heavy right feet are, really causing quite the negative effect on the exit, and also there seems to be a little bit of a bump there on the exit of that turn 2, which is also contributing to the looseness of the machines. Yeah, I've seen most drivers here tonight treating this like a road course turn. Slow in, fast out, too fast in, you will not make it out. So basically they're just backing it down a lot in between the turns, then exiting. They power off nice and strong to get that perfect exit. That's where the fast out comes in, so they can be able to be successful, make it around the track. And we are now coming to 1 to green. Yes, we are 1 to green. Noah Lewis, including Jim Whaley Jr. get whipped around the pace car and back on the lead lap. John Marine, don't be surprised if you see drivers shift through the gears heading into the corners. Absolutely, man. Road course principles should apply quite well, work quite well here tonight. Gateway has a green flag, flies this time around. Keaton Bummer's back, finds the gas pedal, but behind him, Barras gets a better restart than he did, side by side, entering turn 1. Off turn 2, slingshot engaged by Bombers back against Barras, and Barras backs it down, falls back in line. Entering turn 3, single file. Oh no, bad contact. Oh, that sends Bombers back into the wall. He's airborne. Their caution flies on lap 61.
As we go back, we were going to take a look here at the 88 of Keaton's bomber back as Robert Burst was trying to make the pass. Trying to get to the inside. Contact made between the two, and Robert Burst up hard into the outside wall. Goes, or not Robert Burst, but Keaton Bomberback flying through the air.
Oh, and as we speak, Barras, Bomber's back is trying to go down a pit road. His machine is just hopping around. Oh man, yeah. Hopefully he's able to make it down to into his pit stop. Oh no, he flips it again on pit road. Oh man, he's on his lid as we speak, and now he has no choice but to tow. But going back up front here, Robert Barras leading everybody down pit road. Well, but a few drivers accompany him. Jim Whaley Jr. and Mark Kochik right behind, but everybody else staying out. And a new race leader, Simon Thorns. We have Charles Smith second, Jeremy Horn third, Paul Cohen fourth, and Robert Barras here in the 5th place spot, 1st through 5th, respectively. And I just not noticed this, but we've lost 2 more drivers, Ronald Vincent and Jeff Dodson, retiring early here tonight. Unfortunately, Vincent was the driver who went airborne for a ride a couple of laps, cautions back, well, 29 laps ago, unfortunately. And Jeff Dodson as well had some bad luck there with turn 2 as well. So they're both 29 laps down and dropping. We are 1 to green this time around. Single file, Simon Thorns, Charles Smith, Jeremy Horn, Paul Cohen, Robert Barras, Jim Whaley Jr., Mark Kochik, Noah Lewis, and Keaton Bomber's back here, single file, going green. And Keaton Bomber's back, unfortunately, ended up 2 laps down. It's 2 laps down as we speak, behind the 98 of Noah Lewis. Very unfortunate. He's having some connection problems. A green flag is out and Simon Thorns finds the gas pedal. We have Charles Smith here in the 2nd place spot trying to play catch up, entering turn 1. Jeremy Horn here in the 3rd place spot as well, trying to catch the 2 drivers, but better for racing up front. Simon Thorns and Charles Smith going at it side by side. It's like a free lunch program against Simon Thorns. He just went from 2nd place, well, from 1st place to 3rd place in 2 laps, but stabilizes in the 3rd place spot here this far, and just trying to ride and keep up the pace. And behind him, he has a motor roaring. It's the 75 of Robert Barras for 4th place. And a battle up front here for the race lead. Charles Smith and Jeremy Horn going at it. But, oh, contact! Oh, man, I just heard a big loud boom exiting turn number 2. A big checkup on the backstretch. Oh, man, that big checkup there slowed down Jeremy Horn, Robert Barras, including Simon Thorns. This allows Keaton Bummers back to catch up, including Jim Whaley Jr. So far, ladies and gentlemen, we've learned that turn 2 is not, or you said that turns number 1 and 2, not anybody's friend. Every single caution we've seen, or every single wreck we've seen has occurred in between turns number 1 and 2 on the exit of turn 2 for that matter. So these drivers trying to stay alive here, take it easy through those turns. The backing is really messing them up when it exits. It's just way too good with how much speed these machines carry. And here going back up front, Charles Smith here still in the lead, and now 0.8 of a second ahead of 2nd place driver Jeremy Horn. Yeah, this is now 71 laps in and 55 laps left here in tonight's race. The laps are ticking down, and we should expect to see at least 1 more pit stop in order for the drivers to be able to make it the rest of the way. And for third place, Robert Barras is under fire from the 57 of Simon Thorns. Simon Thorns making his presence known in the rear view of Barras. And Barras so far is just trying to keep his head so far as he tries to hunt down the 14 of Jeremy Horn. It's a chain reaction of battles going on throughout the whole entire field from second place on back. Simon Thorns here falls short of turn 2 against Barras. Oh man, but Simon Thorns has a motor roaring in his rear, and that is 46 of Jim Whaley. And yes, Jim Whaley is back on the lead lap. Yep, Jim Whaley here so far as well is, oh man, we almost had Simon Thorns get way too friendly with the exit of turn 2 wall, but no harm done, still green flag racing. His machine, not a single scratch on it either. And Jim Whaley here just slowly creeping up, slowly creeping in with the help of the draft, which is not really playing too much of a factor, because the straights are not that long basically, because they do have to brake really hard through the turns. But here for third place, Barras was trying to go against Jeremy Horn, but fell short of turn 2. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are way past the halfway mark. Gonna take another commercial break this time around. We'll be right back, so please stay tuned.
Don't let your first date be your last. Visit People Against Distracted Driving at PADD.org.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Gateway Indy 156. That's the Gateway Indy 156, round 14 of 16, Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon Indy Car Series. And ladies and gentlemen, they are taking drivers. So if you'd like to be part of the action, if you'd like to be one of the drivers here, either this season for the next upcoming 2 races or next season, check them out at their website, AmericanTrucker8.wixsite.com/RTRL. That's American Trucker, the number 8.wixsite.com/RTRL, or simply go to iRacing and under the Leagues tab, search for Roaring Thunder Racing League, and you will find them. Once again, Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing and American Trucker 8.wixsite.com/RTRL. Well, going back to the race, we are under caution, going green this time around. Turn 2 claimed another victim, and it was Robert Barras, the last time around, bringing out this caution. Unfortunately, it was self-spin there, like we've seen with these machines just pretty much getting upset on the exit of turn 2. And we've lost one driver here. Keaton Bummer's back has retired early for the evening, so now only 8 drivers left in tonight's race. We are going green this time around. A green flag is out. The leader, Jeremy Horn, finds the gas pedal. Charles Smith, second here. Jim Whaley Jr., third here so far. And Jim Whaley catching up to Charles Smith in the 13. But Smith power move off the exit of turn 2 against Jeremy Horn. Gets very close to him. Goes all the way up high. And the side by side, entering turn 3. And a crossover here by Charles Smith against Jeremy Horn, and they are now back side by side. Entering turn 1, will scratch that. Looks like Charles Smith backed it off there to just let Horn maintain it for now. Oh, yep, and some intel from the crew chief. You have their great spotting by Chris Potter in the chat. Noah Lewis is back on the lead lap. Absolutely, man. He did not give up. Go both laps back the hard way. Very impressive. And same with the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr., man. It's amazing seeing these drivers determined to get the job done despite all the negative things that the track might throw their way. The track or race might throw their way. They always propel past that. And so far he got overtaken by the 75 of Robert Barras. Barras trying to get back up there after having some bad luck there during the last caution. His next victim now is 51 of Paul Cohen. And Paul Cohen stays high and lets Barras by, and Barras now coming out to the rear end of 57 of Simon Thorns. Just now saw this by Simon Thorns is 2 laps down as well. So he too is trying to get his laps back the hard way. And going back up front, the top 3 drivers, Jeremy Horn, Jim Whaley Jr., and Charles Smith. Actually, speaking of Jim Whaley Jr., Jim Whaley Jr. was able to get around 13 of Charles Smith for 2nd place and bumped Smith down to 3rd place. And now Whaley Jr. all over the rear of Jeremy Horn. So Horn is feeling the pressure. He knows any mistake he makes, Whaley is going to benefit from it. Oh, yep, Whaley Jr. to the inside of Jeremy Horn, side by side between turns 1 and 2. But Jim Whaley had to back it down, man, to avoid pushing up or spinning out. It's either you push or you spin out or let off the gas to avoid both situations. And he decided to just let off the gas and let Horn maintain it for now. But off turn 4, trying to go back against Horn, but doesn't have enough to make it stick and ride single file for now. And top 3 drivers, Jeremy Horn, Jim Whaley Jr. and Charles Smith, less than a second within each other's range. Well, it looks like Whaley Jr. is about, Whaley Jr. is about, well, it's less than a second. Yeah, less than a tenth of a second behind Jeremy Horn at the same time. Actually, that just went up. Charles Smith is now being shown 1 second behind Jeremy Horn from 6/10 of a second during the last lap. So it looks like Charles Smith just lost 4/10 of a second in 1 lap. For the back in the pack in the 6th place spot, we have the 98 of Noah Lewis, who just got around 51 of Paul Cohen, bumping Cohen out of the top 5 into 6th place, and Lewis himself bumping himself up into the top 5, into the 5th place spot. So now Lewis is holding the keys and the door to the top 5, and anybody trying to get in has to go through Noah Lewis. And Paul Cohen here so far having a motor roaring in his rear. That is the 33 of Kochik. Haven't spoken much of Kochik, if any, here tonight, but he is here, man. He's been keeping a low profile. We had some bad luck there early on, but he's still racing on the lead lap in 7th place all over. Getting very close to 51 of Paul Cohen here as we speak. And goes to the inside of Paul Cohen, side by side between turns 1 and 2, but he backs off and lets Cohen maintain it. I've noticed one thing. What I've noticed is that throughout the whole entire race, nobody has tried going too wide in between turns number 1 and 2. That lets you know something. Turn 2 is very, very deadly. Everybody is letting each other by. And 30 laps to go. That is 30 laps to go here in tonight's race with 96 laps complete. And up front, Jeremy Horn is about 1/10 of a second, actually less than 9/10 of a second ahead of 2nd place driver Jim Whaley Jr. Jim Whaley lost a lot of time. He just lost 8/10 of a second ahead of Jeremy Horn. I mean, against Jeremy Horn for that race lead in 1 lap. Not sure what happened. He was keeping up quite well. But maybe, you know, these machines, they become very unpredictable when it comes to the long run, because these drivers now having 18 laps since their last pit stop. Well, 18 laps since their last pit stops for most of the drivers, except for Noah Lewis. Noah Lewis has not pitted in 36 laps. That's a long time. And speaking of Noah Lewis here, Noah Lewis is now being shown about 7 seconds behind the race leader Jeremy Horn, and about 5.2 seconds behind 13 of Charles Smith, his next victim. So far Noah Lewis seems to be is running 26-second lap times flat, which is just a little bit slower than the leaders up front. So the difference on tires is quite big. At the same time, it is showing. And great question, Christopher, and I do doubt it. They should be able to, I mean, they should come down pit road one more time to be able to make it. And Robert Barras was able to get around the 13 of Charles Smith, bumping Smith down to 4th place himself, up to 3rd place. And Barras now catching up to Jim Whaley Jr. at a very fast rate. And Jim Whaley has lost a lot of time against Jeremy Horn, the race leader. In the last couple of laps, he's now being shown 1.7 seconds behind Jeremy Horn, while Barras is benefiting greatly well, is catching up to Jim Whaley once again at a very fast rate, but Jim Whaley was able to seem like he gained a lot of time against Barras off the exit of turn turn number 4 during the last lap. And 98 of Noah Lewis, we missed it. He was on pit road 2 laps ago. So Noah Lewis here is going to be able to make it the rest of the way. He had a 7.6 second pit stop. That's 4 tires, full tank of gas. And once again, one less thing to worry about. And now it's all about staying alive and maintaining that heavy foot. And those fresh stickers here will help him greatly. So he'll be able to make up a lot of time against the drivers before they end up going down pit road. And 20 laps to go. That is 20 laps to go this time around. We're coming to the closing stages of the race here tonight. And this is go time for a lot of drivers out there. And Jim Whaley now 1.8 seconds behind Jeremy Horn. Barras 2.7 seconds behind Jeremy Horn as well. And at the same time, Barras has lost a lot of time against second place driver Jim Whaley Jr. So Jim Whaley has been able to maintain that lead. Oh, that just changed. Oh, actually looks like Jeremy Horn gave up the race lead to go down pit road as we speak. Yep, Jeremy Horn on pit road this time around and passing the race lead over to the 46 of Whaley Jr. And Jim Whaley as well gave up the race leads to go down pit road, passing the lead over to 75 of Robert Barras, who is 1 second ahead of second place driver, new second place driver 13 of Charles Smith. And Barras has been known to have the fastest pit times, pit stops. So we're going to see exactly how he comes out when it comes down to this green flag pit stop. He is going down pit road as we speak. And up front, Charles Smith is now the new race leader. Mark Kochik second, Poco in third as we speak. But Charles Smith most likely going to be pitting in here before too long. Now going on to 31 laps on his tires and tank. And Barras left pit road. And speaking of Robert Barras' pit stop, he actually had the fastest pit stop this far, 5.7 seconds, followed by the 14 of Jeremy Horn, who had a 6 second flat pit stop. Well, Charles Smith still going nice and strong here on the racing surface now. 32 laps on his tires and tank, and 14 laps left in tonight's race. And Paul Cohen just left pit road as well with a 7.3 second pit stop. We now have Mark Kochik on pit road this time around. So that means only one more driver left to pit in. Actually, no, scratch that. 2 drivers need to pit in, Simon Thorns and Charles Smith. So only 2 more drivers needing to pit in. Yep, Charles Smith trying to run this tank dry. And now 34 laps on his tires and tank. And he has Simon Thorns right behind. So at this point, everybody being shown one or more laps down. Charles Smith staying out this time around. Let's see. Yes, Charles Smith staying out. One more lap. We have Jeremy Horn second, Robert Barras third, Jim Whaley Jr. fourth, Noah Lewis fifth, Simon Thorne sixth, Poe Cohen 7th, Mark Kochik 8th, and so far rounding up all the drivers left here in tonight's race. Oh, Simon Thorne spun out. Whoa, yes he did, but he saved it somehow, and the green flag stays out. Oh man, that was some great drift action by Simon Thorns at over 150 miles an hour in an open wheel Indy car. Very hard to save, very difficult to save. But up front, Charles Smith gives up the race lead and is on pit road as we speak. So Charles Smith went 37 laps on his tires, and that's going to give the race lead back to 14 of Jeremy Horn. And less than 10 laps to go. Less than 10 laps to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, go time. Hang on to those seats. It's going to be a bumpy ride. And also our final driver needing to pit in has gone down pit road. That is Simon Thorns with 37 laps on his tires and tank. Same with the 13 of Charles Smith. But Jeremy Horn once again took over the race lead. Barras second, Jim Whaley Jr. third, Charles Smith, Lewis fourth, and Poe Cohen in the 5th place spot. And that was a very good, oh man, looks like Barras was able to make up a lot of time against Jeremy Horn with his amazing pit stop. We talked about how he's always known to have the fastest pit stops. Early on, I talked about how his pit time was 5.7 seconds compared to Jeremy Horn, 6 seconds flat. So that 0.3 of a second difference was enough for Barras to make up a lot of time against Jeremy Horn. And now that lead is about 0.4 of a second apart. Barras already having 11 wins under his belt, 11 wins of 13, trying to make this his 12th win right here at Gateway. Yep, and great catch there, Chris. Yep, Jeremy Horn trying everything he can, man. Everything in the book, trying to break that draft. But so far, having no luck, man. Barras is all over him. You know, keeping that gap either consistent or decreasing. But every now and then, the gap goes. It is fluctuating like a rubber band effect. You know, it's almost like a leapfrog effect in this case. Well, you know, it goes high, it goes back down low, it stays consistent. It's all over the place. Can't really tell. Seems like Barras. Oh, Barras taps the wall off the exit of turn 2 a lot. He's gained some right wing damage. Oh, he just got disqualified, unfortunately. Oh, man, that's very, very rough night. Rough ending for Barras after all he has achieved here tonight. Well, it's a Sunday drive for Jeremy Horn. Yep, and the next flag ends the race here. 3 laps left in tonight's race. A new second place driver, 46 of Jim Whaley Jr., Noah Lewis 3rd, Poe Cohen 4th, and Charles Smith in the 5th place spot. Two laps to go, 2 laps to go. And the feud is very, very spread out. The gap between Jim Whaley Jr. and Jeremy Horn, that is second and first place driver, is 3.5 seconds. Then Jeremy Horn versus the third place driver, Noah Lewis. The gap is about 18 seconds. So here the feud has been spread out a lot due to those green flag pit stops, which have been known to separate the men from the boys. This is now the white flag final lap. Jeremy Horn. Exiting turn 4, Jeremy Horn brings this thing home unchallenged for his second win of the season right here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Jim Whaley Jr. comes out second. Noah Lewis comes out third, despite his bad luck there early on, man. Went 2 laps down, got both laps back, you know, very determined, and finishes in the third place spot. We'll be having Paul Cohen finish in the 4th place spot. Charles Smith 5th. And Simon Thorne 6th, Robert Berra 7th, Mark Kochik 8th, and Keaton Bummer's back. Jeff Dotson, Ronald Vincent, Rolf Just. That's going to be all the way 8th place to 12th place respectively. Well, ladies and gentlemen, interviews coming up. Top 3 drivers, Jeremy Horn, Jim Whaley Jr., and Noah Lewis, so stay tuned. And a smoke show by the leader and the winner, Jeremy Horn. Well, ladies and gentlemen, joined by the top 3 drivers, Jeremy Horn, Jim Whaley Jr., including Noah Lewis up in the Dre Broadcasting booth. Gonna start with a nice race winner here, that 14 of Jeremy Horn, having his second win. That's the defending champion right there, actually, too. Having his second win right here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Gotta come up there, Jeremy.
Yeah, I got you.
How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. It was it was an awful crazy race tonight, and it was a yo-yo night for me especially. But I was glad to pull the win out there.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we noticed a lot of interesting things happened there on the racing surface, man, and especially turn 2 claimed a lot of drivers, man. It seemed like, you know, if anybody got too happy with the gas pedal, that thing just spun around off the exit of turn 2. How were you able to manage the machine's moodiness, basically tonight?
Well, it was all good. On every part of the track. I mean, 1 and 2 is always hard here. It's always such a narrow track, and if you're out front, it's really nice. But it even happened to me coming off 2 with about 120 to go. I got behind Kite, and it's just, if you were in the exact right spot to get wash off the other car, it just turned just all of a sudden. Luckily, I didn't hit anything. I know it claimed Robert there too before he hit the wall there that last time, and it was really tricky because you're full bore. I mean, you let off a little bit in the middle, and you're all the way on it. And then if you just get that weight just right off the other car, it was all over and done with.
Oh man, indeed, man. You know, you went through so much on the track, you know, a lot. You know, the good thing is, you know, you turned around for the better, and you did not give up. You were very determined, and it ended up paying off, having great success back-to-back last week. Pocono here tonight at Gateway, very, very impressive. But now shifting gears, man, traveling to Watkins Glen next week. What are expectations for Watkins Glen, man? What are you thinking about next week?
Well, unfortunately, I won't be able to race with them. I'm taking my son to a birthday present that I had gotten him this Christmas. So we're going to go watch Monster Jam. So, I mean, I like Watkins Glen, especially with the boot, and I think those guys will have a real hard time. I think Kyton and Robert will be the stars of the show, like always, especially on road courses. It just stinks in the way that things fell. I won't be able to be with them next weekend.
Oh, 10-4, man. No worries, man. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. But congrats on your success here tonight and all season long, brother. It's been amazing watching you battle throughout the whole entire season, your career here this season. Despite the very, very heavy competition, you had to earn it every step of the way. Well, any final words before I let you go, man? Before I let you go celebrate?
Yeah, I just want to thank you and everybody that stuck around watching this tonight. I know it was a lot longer than normal. Just thank Jeff and CB and everybody at RTRL for putting this on, and thank my wife and my son for letting me come out and have fun with all these guys. It's a good bunch of guys, and I just enjoy it.
Well, congrats, brother, and go celebrate. You earned it. See you again after next week, hopefully, at Sonoma.
10-4, sounds good. Have a good evening.
That was 14 of Jeremy Horn, defending champion tonight's race winner for his second win of the season at Gateway. But next in line is 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. You come up there, Jim?
Yeah, I got you.
How you doing tonight, man?
Not too bad.
Well, Jim, man, you know, even for you, the race tonight was not the best in the beginning, man. You were a couple of laps down, got both laps back the hard way. Actually, let's talk about that, man. At that point, what kept you going? You know, you did not give up. You were 2 laps down, no lucky dogs whatsoever. A lot of heavy competition around the racing surface. What was your secret?
Well, it was too early, so I knew I could make it up. It just, if that would have happened midway or later, yeah, that probably would have been the end. But being that it happened so early, I just knew if I, you know, bode my time well, I'd be all right and be able to pull it off. I didn't think a second, but I knew I could get back on the lead lap.
Oh, most definitely, man. And, you know, Jim, after you got both laps back the hard way, got back on the lead lap, you ended up somehow finding the highest gear known to mankind on these Indy cars, man. You were all over the 14 of Jeremy Horn. Tell us about your experience trying to run him down.
For the most part, I was all right, but I made a mistake in one where I don't know. I don't know what happened. I didn't set it up correctly, and I wound up pushing up real bad out of 2 and just about hit the wall. So I had to get completely out of it, and at that point, that allowed him to go, and that was pretty much it.
Oh, most definitely, man. Yeah, we noticed you ended up losing 7/10 of a second with just that one lap, but you were able to hold off the 75 of Barras, who was right behind you, trying to take that away from you, but you were able to be successful despite that. Well, man, congrats on your success here tonight. And what are your expectations for next week?
It's a road course. There are no expectations.
10-4, man. Well, congrats again tonight, brother. Any final words before you go?
Thank you guys for broadcasting this, Jeff, and everybody at RTRL. My youngest son, Zach, he was watching tonight, so glad I could give him a good showing. Love you, bud.
A big shout out to Zach in the chat. That is proud of you. And that is Jim Whaley Jr., second place finisher here tonight, RTRL. But next in line is 98 of Noah Lewis, finishing the 3rd place spot. It was not looking too good for Noah Lewis, but he turned it around. Good go up there, Noah.
I do.
How doing tonight, man?
Despite all the difficulties, I am doing extremely well, and I had no intentions after tonight of ever imagining being up down here with you guys, because it was such a rocky night.
Oh man, indeed. You know, after having some bad luck last week at Pocono, and tonight, you know, you had some bad luck there too, but got both laps back the hard way. Talk to your crew chief, your crew chief out there, Chris, putting you all the way, man. He was giving us some intel. You know, you lost connection at one point. You know, other point, basically just so much negativity going on, but you still got your laps back the hard way and had a lot more laps on your tires compared to everybody else. And how, speaking of that, man, how did the machine handle after you were having over 17 laps more on your tires compared to the rest of the field?
Yeah, there were so many guys having issues out of 2, and once I heard that and got the memo, I kind of just ran 1 and 2 a little different. I backed it way down and ran 3 and 4 like a normal corner, but something was going on with 1 and 2 on worn tires. Fortunately, I never had any problems of the car stepping out or any looseness whatsoever. And that was the great thing. So obviously it worked out, and I really, like I said, didn't expect to be in here tonight after what happened, and at one point even being out of the room, you know, not even being in the room with these guys, and somehow coming back, and it just shows that if you got a car that'll drive, then, you know, keep at it. And so that's what we did tonight, and that's why we're here.
Oh man, that's very, very commendable, and congrats on your success here despite everything going south at one point. And because of your determination, man, it turned around for the better. But man, going to a track that does not have a tricky turn 2 next week at Watkins Glen, what do you think is the best way to approach Watkins Glen next week?
For me, it'll be more of a learning experience. I don't really run road courses that often, and I have run at Watkins Glen before, but really just learning during practice, watching other people's lines, trying to get a feel for the car and the track combination. That'll be key. And then seeing if we can get away with a good finish, that's all. Because, you know, at a road course, you don't have full course cautions, but you do have incident limits. And a lot of guys will exceed those when racing hard. So we just need to make sure that we keep clean, we run our line, and we make sure that we're getting in and out of the corner like we should.
Oh, copy that, man. Well, look forward to seeing you 2 spots higher next week at Watkins Glen. It's been amazing seeing you race all season long. And let's end this season nice and strong with the Exalta machine. And the last text from your spotter up there, well, crew chief Chris Potter, was never give up, Noah Lewis, never give up. And he keeps typing it over and over, man. You made him proud, made us proud. Look forward to seeing you again next week at the Glen.
Well, thank you guys for putting this on, and I sure do appreciate them out there and interacting with chat and watching you guys, because you guys do a spectacular job with it.
That was 98 of Noah Lewis, man. Give us some amazing, kind words. A very successful night on his part after having a bad race last week at Pocono, finishing 3rd. So that was Jeremy Horn, Jim Whaley Jr., and Noah Lewis. So we have Paul Cohen, Charles Smith, Simon Thorns, Robert Barras, Mark Kochik, Keaton Bummer is back, Jeff Dotson, Ronald Vincent, and Rolf Just. That's 4th place on down to 12th place, respectively. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was a rough night for a lot of drivers. Turn 2 claimed a lot of drivers out there, man. And it was amazing seeing a lot of them recover for the most part. But unfortunately, they ended up most of them got some bad damage after flipping from, you know, in every single direction onto mankind for some drivers out there, which was not the prettiest. But it was still an amazing race overall. The Gateway Indy 156. And thank you very much for being a part of it right here live on the Dre Broadcasting Network. Well, the next race, ladies and gentlemen, is next week, round 15, the Roaring Thunder Racing League Indy at the Glen. Watkins Glen once again, round 15 of 16. Then from there we travel to Sonoma Raceway for the final race of the season, or in this case, the race of the crown, because that we'll be able to crown a champion in that race. And going back to the points here, starting tonight's race, Robert Barras was 278 points ahead of 2nd place driver Charles Smith. So it's going to be very, very difficult to beat him. But we're going to find out exactly how things play out in next week's race. Well, the next broadcast we have is going to be tomorrow night, the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series live, right here on the Dre Broadcasting Network. I am Sean Zulu, and David Everly behind the cameras, and thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good rest of your Saturday night. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.